My name is Michelle Boit. I'm a petroleum engineer consultant, and basically I've been just doing petroleum engineering all my career, working in oil and gas industry. I'm also a mother, a sister, a daughter, cousin, everything. I've worked in different companies, I've worked in different fields, I've worked in different areas, or in different positions. So let me talk a little bit about production engineer, because 80% of my career has been in production engineering. So basically, as a production engineer, you wake up, you see how your field is producing. That is the first shot. And once you see the production of your field, some days are good, some days are bad. And the days that, every day there will be a well that is going down. So when I was working at BP, we had 2,000 wells. So you can imagine you cannot monitor 2,000 wells. So we used a program where it can sort out my top 100 producing wells. So when I get to work in the morning, I get to monitor those wells first before I go to the low-hanging fruits. So as a production engineer, you basically monitor the production of the field and figure out where are the gaps and try to fix it using technology and innovation and make sure all the work is safe. When I was working at Talo, I was more of a project management. So at that time, you monitor the project from beginning to end. There's this big project we had, EOPS, and we'll talk more about that. So EOPS, managing a project, managing contracts, managing people, managing the equipment. That one was a little bit different. You come in, you check your task, you check your timeline, you check your schedule, and you have frequent meetings, and then you visit the field, because most of the time what people tell you is not exactly what's happening. So I have a saying that I've always been following all throughout my career is inspect what you expect, so that you are not getting any surprises. So I travel all my career, I travel a lot in the field to make sure that everything is going well. And then the most recent one, which was as a consultant in Glencoe, I was working as a supervisor. That one now is different. We have operations meeting before shift, and then you plan the shift, and then you execute, and then you review at the end of the shift. And oil and gas is very, it can be very complex. So sometimes you might plan something and it doesn't go very well. So you have to be very alert. So you have to be mentally strong, because any decision that you make as a supervisor, as a manager, might hinder and might cost a lot of money and might also cause some safety issues. So that's how I've been working. Sometimes, you might wake up and say, oh, my field, I wanted to start producing, I wanted to do well, I've discovered this technology that I can use. Maybe I was in a conference and I want to apply. And then as soon as you arrive at work, all the pipes are frozen. There's so many issues going on. Sometimes we have incidents, that you need to solve. So sometimes it doesn't go the same. Oil and gas, we depend on Mother Nature. It's complex. You can imagine we're producing from subsurface, so you really don't know what's going on. So with experience, you start to learn, what are the temperatures, pressures. If you start seeing high pressures more than usual, that's whenever you'll figure out there's something, different. So each and every day is different. Yes, so we have a department, we call them HSE, Health, Safety and Environment. They monitor each and everything that is done. They keep up records of every day of what is happening in the field, in the office, personal records of what's going on. So that department is really huge, and they monitor operations, they monitor personal safety, and they have a lot of training ongoing, and they monitor even per rig to see that everything is going well. And before even we hire any contract, we check on their safety record. It is very important because it is a world where we depend on nature, and so we want to make sure that the safety record is good, and we also put a safety target on ourselves as a company. I'm very passionate about energy. Energy, for me, it directly impacts the economic growth of our country. You know, as you can see, when the fuel price goes up, all the commodities prices go up. And so I want to make sure that I do my very best in producing this energy that we're using, because it directly impacts in economy. So I'm very passionate because I know, it helps out. And I'm very passionate because it just gives some personal satisfaction. There's something about mixing the chemicals and trying to figure out, what works best and what quantity, what quality, the technology. There's something about it. I remember when I was back in high school, I really enjoyed chemistry. I remember titration. They used to kick me out of the lab. So this passion started way back when I was young. So yeah, I've continued, and I would like to make an impact in the energy. Going forward. One is to make sure that the citizens, the government, they understand this oil and gas industry. It's new for East Africa, so we need to understand what entails with the oil and gas industry. It's very complex, but if I could explain it in a very simple terminology, it will help our government officials, it will help our citizens to make the right decision to make this young industry grow. And also, on another area is for me to pass on my knowledge to the young engineers. I know we'll talk more about my foundation, but that's part of it. That's how passionate I am. I would like to see a young engineer getting out from school. I just pour all my knowledge onto them and see them walk through the industry, grow, and be a successful engineer. My dad was a professor, biochemical professor. So I could say all my knowledge, all my science and math came from my dad. And then my mom is very strict, very disciplined. So I would say I have the best of both my parents. So growing up, we were raised in an environment that was very supportive. So they allowed me to do what I needed, and they allowed me to be different, and they just gave me all the support. So as a child, that's what I remember. We got all the support that we needed, and both our parents are different, and I got the best of both of them. So when I got to high school, same thing, we were just being guided by our parents, and I always wanted to be a chemical engineer. So unfortunately, KCC, they have a cutoff points, so I didn't meet the cutoff points, but they gave me options of going somewhere, go to the United States if I would like to go and study and still pursue, because in the United States you give an entry exam, and if you pass the entry exam, you're able to pursue whatever you want to pursue. So that's the journey I took. I graduated at Texas Tech University with honors, and it was a big celebration in our family, and for me personally, I had given myself some targets and some goals, and then I started working for BP. Started in Amarillo, Texas as a field engineer. I worked in Wyoming, and in Wyoming I was traveling a lot because I was based in Houston. There we had our own challenges. It was up in the north. You're dealing with snow, you're dealing with winter, really bad winter. But it was a good challenge, it was a good experience for my career. Then I worked in New Mexico before I moved to Talo. So Talo for me, it was, that stage of your career, you want to make a difference, you want to change. And I wanted to move to actually Angola with BP. And then that's whenever Kenya discovered oil. And I said, voila, what are the odds? Because my dad was saying, why are you doing petroleum? We don't have petroleum in Kenya. We don't have petroleum in East Africa. So what are the odds? We discovered successfully oil and in Turkana Basin. I was able to visit, and then yeah, I decided to join. So I worked for Talo for 5 years, and that was one of my highlights in my career because I'm one of the pioneers in not only the technical but also as a woman in petroleum engineering. Then after working 5 years, we had a success project, first oil production in Kenya that was launched by our very own Mr. President Uhuru Mugai Kenyatta. That's when I hit my highlight of my career. And after that, I took a rest and I asked myself, what do I want to do? Because at that time, that project was going to go on for 2 years. And I decided to start my consulting firm, and my first contract was in Chad. Very tough environment to work in, but I had among the best team that I worked with, and the project was very exciting too. So that was before COVID hit in, where we all shut in to date.